When it was renovated in the early 2000s, the Theodore Roosevelt United States Courthouse was fortified to withstand a 9/11-style terrorist attack. This was apparent in every detail. The place, a mammoth, 750,000-square-foot complex in downtown Brooklyn, a short walk from the Brooklyn Bridge, looks and feels like a fortress, and that's what I like most about it. This is the safest of safe spaces. I arrived early, well before dawn, to make sure I secure my usual seat in the back of the courtroom. My house is in Rochester, 5 hours away, but I attend all the major hearings related to the NXIVM case. I have to see this thing through to the end. A year ago, NXIVM was an obscure multi-level marketing company built around executive coaching programs with little more than a cult following. Then, on March 26, 2018, the arrest happened, and the world learned that cult following was not just a cliched expression. The lurid details from the federal indictment, cult leader, sex trafficking, slave branding, were front-page news. Endlessly fascinating. The media had a field day. I spoke to any journalist who asked for an interview, calmly telling the truth, as I'd been doing for years. But it was difficult this time. In the past, whenever I spoke to the press, the NXIVM people would rebut, "She's crazy." No one thinks I'm crazy anymore. The same cannot be said for the 6 defendants in the case. The 5 women are gaunt, ghostly gray. An impartial observer might conclude that they are prisoners on a hunger strike. The truth is that the man they call Vanguard wants them to look anorexic, demands that they consume the bare minimum of calories per day. Even now, almost a year after his arrest, they eagerly starve themselves to please their master. Their hungry devotion led them here to this courtroom, where they see themselves as martyrs for the cause. There is the one called Prefect, Vanguard's longtime business partner and first acolyte, and NXIVM's president. More meat on her bones than the others, but just as broken. I've known her for more than 2 decades. In fact, I was the one who brought the 2 of them together all those years ago. The psychological experiments they did on me back then were the foundations of NXIVM's Executive Success Program, or ESP, its self-help curriculum. She was a different person then, brilliant, ambitious, full of life, the very embodiment of executive success. You would never know it to look at her now. Prefect's daughter is also a defendant. She was a college student when Vanguard first met her. A capable, whip-smart girl with a life of promise ahead of her. In short order, he turned her against her mother and then strung her along for decades with broken promises of a child, a family, a life together. That future did not come to pass, and now she is 42, and it never will. The bookkeeper, defendant 3, is the picture of defeat. Rail thin, sad face, cried out. She is my age or thereabout, but looks much older. Bookkeepers are usually the first to flip in a case like this, to cooperate with the prosecution in exchange for leniency. But I don't think she has it in her. Next we come to the liquor heiress. Not so young anymore, but as naive as ever. Vanguard bamboozled her and her only slightly less naive sister, appropriating their renown, exploiting their old money business contacts, emptying their vast coffers. Everything NXIVM did was underwritten by the heiresses. Her family's vast wealth financed the legal harassment any detractor or defector was subject to, just as it paid for the attorneys of all 6 defendants in the courtroom today. But that's not the half of it. No. Vanguard has drained more than $100 million from the heiresses' personal trust funds. Lost most of it on catastrophically awful commodities trades. Spent the rest. His transgressions are impossible to ignore. Writ in red in the family ledgers, the earning reports, the bottom lines. But the heiress can't or won't see it. She remains faithful. She has not repudiated her master. Instead, she stood by him, proclaiming his innocence as she proclaims her own. Doubling down, she has retained a fancy new attorney for today's hearing, a celebrity lawyer from the city of celebrity lawyers, Los Angeles. He doesn't look particularly impressive to me. Probably he sees her as Vanguard does, with dollar signs in his eyes.